Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the webinar AI and Future of Work Reimagining Careers in the Age of Intelligent Machines. So, I would take this opportunity to welcome all the dear the participants to the webinar and also Dr. Balamuralidhar for accepting our invitation and being with us today. So before we get started with the webinar, I would like to give a small introduction about him. And after that, Dr. Balamuralidhar can take up the session and we can continue with our webinar. So please note that this is a recorded session and this recording can be availed by you. So so we will be sharing you a form during the webinar. Please fill in that if you wish to have the recording of this webinar. So let me give a small introduction about Dr. Balamuralidhar. Dr. Balamuralidhar P is a principal scientist and head of TCS Research and Innovations Lab, Bangalore. His current research interest includes various aspects of cyber physical systems, sensor informatics, and IoT, and robotics and computer vision. He has over 30 years of R&D experience with more than 100 peer-reviewed journals, conference publications, and 25 granted patents in his credit. He co-authored the book IoT Technical Challenges and Solutions Architect. So welcome, Dr. Balamurali, and the floor is all yours.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, based on your patience. And I am Balamuralidhar, and thanks for the brief introduction. So, being in a research career and a technologist throughout several years, so this topic is very, very favorite to me, and I have been in this area for quite some time. And many of you have really seen, heard, and then also read about this topic a lot, AI and future of work, in many media, many channels, and then many experts have been really talking, and then this has been of great interest. So, why AI talk is happening? Is it a different technology? For my lifetime itself, leave it whatever happened before, have seen the emergence of uh, computers, specifically the IBM PC, wireless communications, mobile phones, and several other technologies, including uh, the 3G, 4G, 5G, and also many of the machine technologies related to IoT, sensor systems, and also the kind of systems that are intelligent, like robots and even space machines, and then many, and coming to the age of AI as well, right? So, this is a question why we have specific interest in this topic of AI, and then why we have more questions about this. And is AI just one of these technologies that we are faced, the human race is faced, then is it going to impact humanity in a different way? So these are the questions being asked, and then there are several answers coming out from different corners. So let us look at what is this AI, and from the definition perspective, the AI terminology has been used or introduced by John McCarthy in a prestigious conference in US in 1954. AI is the science and engineering of making machines that can perform tasks that could normally require human intelligence. This has been a dream, right? Several media, several movies, and several literary works. This dream has been there for quite long. And this vision is not very new. And so, specifically, when you really ask AI, I believe it is very fundamental really to look at and understand from the basics and then try to appreciate what is really happening around and across different domains. So it is very easy to understand in a way when you say that a machine having a human level intelligence, right? And how that is being constructed and what are these major terminologies being used. We have heard of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning, and these terminologies as the key interrelated terms. So, artificial intelligence is the mind that is really working on towards mimicking the human intelligence or aimed at mimicking the human intelligence, and then which is based on a computer that is working on deep learning or deep neural networks. And machine learning is the algorithm that is really running on this machine to achieve that render that artificial intelligence. So this is one way we can really see that. So this has emerged really from this architecture has really emerged from the neuroscience, understanding of human brains, and then how. So this mimicking these neurons from this architecture to really build that the artificial neural networks. I'll mention that one in a slide later. So, what are the human capabilities that this engine or this machine is replicating? Basically, the capability is pattern recognition. And the emergence of pattern recognition, the rendering of that effect, that capability is visible in terms of object recognition, detection, classification, neighborhood estimation. That means there is an object and then what is similar to that nearby. And also reasoning and how does really one related to another, how one is logically connected to another. So these are the kind of things specifically looking at entities in this world and then try to understand and then their relationships and then all through pattern recognition. Then comes in the temporal domain. Okay, these are the history that has happened. Based on that, what will happen next? So this is the question of prediction. So moving to the future, and then from the knowledge that we have before, and from the historical information, how do you really predict something new? So that is a capability that is there next level from a sequence prediction perspective of this AI. Now, one of the major breakthrough that has happened is in the language. So a machine really understanding human language, understanding the grammatical, understanding the structure of and then the meaning of that language, and really be creative in that domain is a real breakthrough, and then that has made these machines really to touch human in a much more meaningful manner. And that is what we really witnessing these days, the kind of emergence of large language models and then creating several impact from that perspective. So then, not only this language, and then what we are also seeing the information coming in multiple modalities, whether there is a text, whether there is an image, whether there is an audio, and then in multiple modalities, not only these major human senses or human related cognitive modalities, but also there are modalities which are beyond, whether radio signals and then even other optic signals, and then many other information also this machine starts processing. Now, with this, it is not only a kind of assimilating this knowledge and then generating an insight, but also accumulating them to a knowledge. That is one of the key capability of human. That means providing a continuum of information and then the knowledge, and then based on that, how to interpret the incoming signals, and then based on that make reasonings to live in this world. So then there are three major capabilities which are today bit beyond the kind of AI systems what we have, but slowly and systematically getting conquered that. One is emotional intelligence. So human and then the biological beings have a certain level of emotion representations, and then that is the core of our neural systems, and which are the primary kind of interpretation of external stimuli, and then that gets into the higher levels of cognitive information. And then empathy, to understand self as well as the others, and then how do you really interact based on others, what they think. That means the theory of mind, it is called. So it is not only what you think, but also what others think, and based on that interacting. That is a unique capability of human intelligence, and how to handle and how to conquer that, that is still being explored. Then, till now, we have discussed on the disembodied kind of agent, or a machine that really works in a cyber domain. Yeah, so when getting into interacting with the real world, that is a major hurdle today from the AI systems. And then how getting to physical actions, that is the area of robotics. And then how AI plus robotics gets, and then integrate their activity along with the disembodied to embodied AI, and how that area is getting conquered. So basically, in each of these areas where uh, at least what in my talk today, I will try to explain the kind of thing what I have experienced through the whole years in terms of the information processing, sensor signal processing, IoT, and then AI-enabled robotics and satellite information handling, and then many of that tasks. How and what are the capabilities of this intelligence, machine intelligence that has been used, and then how does this continuum of growth is really coming up. Now, this historically, if you really look at the evolution of this AI, it is symbolic AI has been there in the 60s, where you represent the knowledge, everything in terms of uh, symbols or language, and then express that knowledge in terms of either ontologies or rules, or even decision trees, and then many of that way about certain areas, the information. And then that information is really reasoned out through some of the logical programming like Prolog, Lisp, and then all those to build expert systems. And then came the recent AI disruptions, and then the generative AI. We'll talk about that thing later. And agentic AI, and then embodied AI. Embodied AI, I mentioned that one. AI having a body, that is the robotics, or even AI embodied in avatar. And then how this disruption is also really happening, and how that also really going to affect our the life, and then the work, and then the interaction and relations in this world. So AI through the years, if you really quickly look at it, 1950s, Alan Turing, the Turing test was there. and which basically is designed to say that whether in a blind manner, whether this is a machine or a AI system or a human between identifying. So then 60s, the symbolic AI emergence, and then 1980s, the expert systems have come in with a lot of this kind of encoded human hand encoded knowledge. But that has a heavy limitations because it is limited by the human ability to encode this knowledge what in their world, and then this that got in a very difficult kind of situation, and then that was the winter of AI somewhere in the 1980s. And then again, 1990s, the topic got picked up by the emergence of machine learning. This is one of the major breakthrough how data can be used to program a machine. So till then, we have really the procedural or functional programming for really programming an intelligent machine through that the coding. But then, how to really put a black box and then feed data from that data? How do that machine learns and then acts accordingly? So the emergence of backpropagation algorithms has come in, and then which has been really contributed by Professor Hinton. And then he got this year's Nobel Prize, and then for his contributions similar to the in that area of AI. And then another Google AI person also got a Nobel Prize that is specifically in chemistry. So this was the year where AI has been celebrated by even by Nobel Prizes, and then that shows that the kind of growth with the fundamentals that is having, and then on that the whole system is built. In 2000, deep neural networks have come in, and till then, surely, like neural networks have been operational, but no, in a very limited way. Deep neural networks have come in mainly because, yes, there are ways in which those architectures could be developed, but major reason is the availability of computing power. How from CPUs the breakthrough to GPUs, the graphic processing unit, that made parallel processing possible. And then so their very deep networks can be really built and experimented. So that has really created a lot of with the imaginate uh, achievement, emergence, that has really well known there, how images have been classified even to the level of even beating human capability there. Now, 2010s, you have the deep learning and then big data on those kind of problems. 2020 has been this decade, even with just halfway way, the decade has happened, but no, there are several breakthroughs in the AI has happened, majorly using the generative AI and then the large language models. So generative AI really has created the fundamental contributions in terms of image generation, text generation, and the kind of audio generations in terms of music, movies, and then the kind of creativity in textual domain. All those really has happened by from the kind of data that is there, massive data learning. So how the new deep neural networks really work, and then very briefly, because why I'm telling at this point is that one, we'll be able to appreciate the kind of the architecture, the concept, and then with that understanding, you will be able to yourself decode what is it really the large AI machines really think. So the left side, what you're really seeing is that the architecture of a neuron, and then how that is connected to another neuron with synapses, and then how the kind of the signals that is passing from one neuron to the another neuron, and then multiple such connections. So from this inputs, number of inputs, how a neuron fires. So, from that basic understanding of that neuroscience has contributed to this one neuron model, where a linear model and then a nonlinear model and activation function. So, this has been really made, and then this is the fundamental architecture within a single neuron. Now you have a network of neuron with different layers it has been connected, and then from that layers, which there is an input layer, there is a hidden layer, and then there is an output layer. Hidden layers there are many number of neurons, and then so this is a kind of fundamental architecture. But now this architecture has many ways has been experimented with in different ways, and that has generated into multiple category or family of neural networks: convolutional neural network, recurrent neural networks, LSTM, generative adversarial neural network. So these RNN and LSTMs are typically for the sequence learning. That means a time series learning. And then GAN is a generative adversary networks, where one neural network generates an information, or whether it's an image, whether it's a text, whether it's an audio content, or any of the that. And then there is an adversarial network which critically review this and then give a feedback, so that this generative network can generate another one, so that the critic network approves it. So that kind of a network, that was another breakthrough really that happened. And then the recent breakthroughs is in the transformers. So that is how from a sequence and to really multiple sequences in parallel, how do you really predict what is the next word, or a next item. So that is the core fundamental operation any of this language models are today doing. So you have a large text, what is there that has been learned, or even multiple information that has been learned and encoded, and then made a pre-trained model there. And from that, when you give a one word, or a few words, and it will try to complete that sentence. So by trying to complete that sentence, or predicting the next word based on previous knowledges, and then from that knowledge, you really generate the number of such lines, and then create a large textual or image or audio information. And then this is the fundamental way in which a GPT works, or an LLM works. GPT is generative pre-trained transformer networks. And then there are variety of that models also has been emerged. And then there are now these things are really computed on CPU, GPU, TPU, and then very latest hardware, analog hardware models, or analog hardwares processors in neuromorphic computing is in the emergence. So I think that is a little more involved topic. So the interest of time will move forward. So how the software programming as such is saying, how the software engineers in future, or even now, are facing this transformation of their work. And then so software 1.0, if you really see that, this is being in the last month there was a talk by Andrew Karpathy, and so he basically categorized into three eras. Software 1.0 is the standard computer code programs that really programming the computers, right? So
kites. Okay.
so whether it is like starting from the Fortran, Pascal, C, Java, and then many of those textual programs, how do you really use it to program a computer? So 2.0 is something like a neural network or a backbone kind of a deep learning network. And there the programming approach is basically generating weights. So the parameters are really the programming of a neural network, which are the weights and then the biases. So that is being learned through a training algorithm. And so that is the backpropagation algorithm generally used from the data. You give an input and then you give an output, and then so give such pairs of information many a time, and each time that is given, the network learns in a supervisory mode. So there are other modes like unsupervised, self-supervised, and then many other modes of learning and this neural network. So that is the kind of things really anyone without knowing anything about the computers can really program a neural network, just because this how it simplified learning through data. So software 3.0 now comes with large LLM, where the English language itself is used for programming, and then where the prompts are used for programming an LLM. So where it's a pre-trained, and then computer is there, and then to which you directly interacts and then interface with the English language. And how do you use that programming language in English with now with not only the textual data but also the multimodal data, images, audio, and then also many other modalities one can use to work with such large language models. Now, in that way, if you really see that LLMs are coming out as the futuristic operating systems to which many of the computing can be really requirement services, all could be really being enabled and facilitated through this LLM. And that's why I said the potential operating system of the future. But these LLMs, well-known problems are there. One is hallucinations. So sometimes, since this is, as I told you, this is a token prediction system. So based on the previous data, previous team, it just predicts. And then after that prediction, it predicts the next word. So that way the sentences are getting formed. With this, sometimes what happen is that when some of the information that is not really there, and it will dream some data, but that is not realistic or accurate. So there are several times I have faced the problems in my research, and whenever I use some of this LLM for researching a topic and then I get some information, and then many a time I ask, give references for your statement. So it gives several references, and I've seen many a time some of these references it has given are completely cooked up, and it's not there at all. So it will look like there is really a publication there, and volume number, page number, everything, but actually that is not there. So there are now several such real life events have happened in this hallucination problem. So sometime back in High Court, there is a lawyer was using ChatGPT or one of the LLM to prepare his arguments for a case, and then he really presented his case, and then judge has asked some of the judgments he has cited, and then he asked his staff to get the printout of references of those judgments. But then they realized or they found out that there's no such references or judgments, and that has really been faked and then created. So this is one of the major issues of LLMs, that will really hallucinations, and then bias based on, because based on the data, the outcome also can be biased. whether the gender bias or even race bias, whatever kind of biases can happen in some of the statements. So some of the things that it can forget, and then also the kind of the way we ask questions or way we ask the prompt, these LLMs could answer you differently. So that is also a thing. It is not that one question is asked and then always that is a kind of answer, because if you really ask that this is a kind of a thing has happened, but that is not good, and then this should not be like repeated, something like that. As in a negative tone, if you give, LLM will give the answer in one way, and then if you give a positive prompt, that may give in a different way. So these kind of things one should be really aware, because even human also are prone to these kind of faults. So we are also biased. We also have hallucination, bias, nature, everything. But we have certain expectation. Many a time we say we are human after all, right? But that kind of a thing we do not tolerate with intelligent machines. We want intelligent machine. We have certain expectations, and that is the way we do that. That expectations many a time may not be satisfied. So generative AI is also, as I mentioned, is that the generation. This has really created a lot of waves in the media, and this is the thing that many of the public in the earlier kind of networks are typically being engineers, and then software developers are being really majorly looking at. But generative AI, there are many tools to really generate images or music, and then many such contents, textual as well as all. So this is something that has been very popular with people, and then where content creators are really extremely using this, and then even this is told that human creativity in terms of content generation is being really questioned by generative AI. Is also something people say, but there are limitations. So, but it is being extensively used in different applications in healthcare, medical imaging, drug discovery, and then many of the treatment plan generation, and then this generative AI is used. Same way in finance, fraud detection, risk management, and personal financial advice. So this is there are many kind of areas this generative AI is really used as a basic information for human to really work on and refine it. So a draft in any of this area is typically being developed. People today are using these AI tools, and then there are certain cases they do much better than human as well. So in optimization problems like in manufacturing, production process, designing new products and improving quality control, software developments extensively this coding. Even many of the AI-enabled companies are really using the initial coding and prototyping, debugging everything using this AI-generated code. But that is also having some time problems typically for the release codes that on real products. So there are some security or even kind of issues are there. So many a time that is will require a bit more careful developments there. So gaming, creating characters, storyline, and more immersive and dynamic gaming using virtual reality and then many of other technologies. Education areas as well, personalized tutoring, education content, and then automatic grading, all those areas. So so these are the kind of thing areas which AI is working, and so how work and employment are poised to change. So that is one of the topic. The first part of the talk, whatever I have covered till now, is how the AI is today and then evolving and going forward towards more intelligent and capable, and then getting into the emotional, empathetic, and then even physical AI. And then that is the futuristic trend that is really happening. And then maybe in few years, a chat GPT kind of a moment will happen in robotics as well. And then that will create a very, very kind of uh, like, a breakthrough. Now, majorly, even today, many of the repetitive tasks are getting really automated. And then in some of the jobs which I have mentioned already, the AI tools are being used and then being extensively further used to enhance human capabilities. So, in this kind of situations, how do we look at the careers? Having one this these machines having these kind of capabilities, is there a place for human to do, because many of the human capabilities these AI engines are really going to beat and nearly beating in with sufficient information given, right? So that is being demonstrated even with some of the kind of problems I enhance, which are being really addressed in many ways. So now, how to really do this and plan your career? And one area what really seeing is that human soft skills, wherever it's required, like empathy, ethics, judgment, and then relationship building, that is a soft area where really human can really excel. And then that kind of a job really has a potential. So AI ethics in governance, collaboration specialists. So when we are talking about human and then machine collaboration, that is really happening. And that is what really we see forward also. It is not only human, it is not only machines, it is human with machines. That collaboration roles and then careers are going to appear in many of these vertical domains. And personalization, so we want systems, intelligent system to interact with us most personally rather than kind of in a general way. And then training, and then many of these areas are some of the career paths that is being developed. Now, how the education is gearing up, because while have been a part of a few like council of some of the curriculum planning for some of the reputed universities, and then I could see that the kind of ways in which how curriculum is really changing uh, to accommodate these changing times. Now the core degree, while there is an important thing to build your concepts and then all, but that is not sufficient, but also need to be spiced up with the kind of micro credentials and skill based learning. And then that is being really making your potential to be very like marketable in the kind of job situations. And in any of these jobs, future jobs, lifelong learning is an important thing, where continuous reskilling and upskilling is happening. Today itself, many of the MNCs, many of the top like organizations have learning departments which are really every 3 years or 2 years or 3 years reskilling of their staff is really scheduled and then reskilling and upskilling. So this is the day of the day and of the future. And lifelong learning is something. Blended learning within a hybrid models where multiple modalities one may use to learn. Interdisciplinary focus, that is something. It is tech alone won't like succeed in a big way. You have some kind of a business and then domain knowledge as well, technology as well as domain knowledge. At the same time, you'll also have some social knowledge And then this is the kind of package that is likely to succeed. And you know what are the kind of even in the future courses, people would like to really take some of these aspects into planning their curriculums. And then many of those things are there. Human skills and many of those empathy, creativity, adaptability also is a part of the curriculum that will be planned. Learning trends are in a similar way. Cognitive agents will become co-learners. That means in future, you will always work with a co-pilot, and then you will have a buddy to AI buddy to work with you in your job to do things much 10 times high productivity of your human efforts. And then scientific understanding and discoveries will be much faster. Whatever the science is progressing today, there are several examples. I think time is running, so otherwise I could give several examples in those areas. Personalization, creativity, surely a strong aspect of human, but will be co-pilot with an AI agent. And then intelligence is a part of your part of your assistants will be working with you. So the campuses, the curriculums, and then all those things, education also really one need to look at very closely. And then while AI and then machine learning will be a part of any of this, like the domains on the branches, what you are going to take it up, and then that is being seen already. And then one of the core courses that may come in, because that is the one really you will be working in terms of knowledge building and then knowledge enabling in that area. And then there is also is a major lack of today the capability in students is systems thinking, and systems thinking gives an overall view of the whole system as a broad view, not only in a very very specific narrow view of the things from a technology perspective. And then this is something, a larger perspective is really required. So there are now variety of ways in these curriculums are getting enhanced in terms of skilling, closely working with startups and then all integrated. And then the learning is like, learn while work. And that is the way things are getting and then going forward. There will be a very, very strong cycles from learning to practice going to happen. And then that is the kind of learnings, and then future things are going to change. So there are several interesting aspects are there. So I won't be able to enter in many of those topics, but I hope that some level uh, I have uh, handled some of the aspects of future of the AI, and then its impact on the careers, and then how does it really want to look at it, to face it. And probably we can take a few questions, and then probably we can have some of the discussions, I think. So this is something now, how to stay relevant in the age of AI, and which I have already mentioned. Be with AI, and then use that as a tool. Don't think that is as a competitor or a threat. And AI won't take your job, but someone using AI might. So that is what CEO of NVIDIA very correctly stated, and then this has been quoted many places. I think this conveys the message. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for this wonderful presentation and a very good guidance on with a very good keynote at the end. Now it's a time for the Q&A session. Please, we have 15 minutes with this for the Q&A. If you have any question, you can unmute and ask. Alternatively, you can put the question in the chat box also. We will pick the question from there and will answer you. Thank you, Mr. Jakshiran Singh. And we have also put a Google form. Please fill in the Google form if you wish to get the recording, as well as to know more about our programs. So we do have a quite lot of interesting programs which is relating to the AI. To know more about that, also you can put the question. You can put the fill in the Google forms. Alternatively, also to avail the recordings of the session. So if you have any question, please utilize this time for the same. Thank you, Ms. Vaishnavi, for that wonderful feedback. So there are two questions there in the chat box. One by Mr. Jaksharan Singh. Can AI be detrimental to students as all is available on platter?
See, yes, this has been a concern with many academics, and then whenever I go to universities and then discuss with the faculty there, and then they say the students do the assignments and then all those things with ChatGPT and then bring it there. And then I used to say that that is not a problem, because the way you put the questions, the way you give the task are really not testing students. And then it is basically to generate. It was testing and then an exercise for students earlier. But there are now many sources of information, many ways of learning, and that we should understand and then assimilate. And then the way, how do you really use and replace those assignments with kind of one-on-one talks, okay, one-on-one interviews, and then those kind of evaluations can really bring out what a student has learned, and then how you can enable that with the same with the technology, and then and how you can do that. That is something only some universities have started, and we will see that thing more.
I think so. It has even redefined how we frame the questions for the students, I guess, with the AI,
Yes,
rather than typical question and answer now. Yes, that's very
that's right.
valuable insight. Yeah. Okay, I have a question from Malawi Kijambu, but the question is not very clear. But can you explain, have a portfolio, not a resume? So can you make the question a bit more elaborate? You can ask the question by unmuting yourself also.
Okay, that question I've taken it from the last I think the last page he showed that there's a statement there that says have a portfolio, not a resume. So I just wanted him to expand on that.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, you're referring to that. So that is what basically is that having a portfolio is something that as a skill set that you have, and then that you need to develop and then continue having a learning program. It is not that you have learned and then have a certificate with you, and then that is all. That is not, but you have a program already to enhance knowledge in those areas, and then you know where the source of information regarding that, and then where you know where what to do in certain kind of skill learning and then on. So that means you are ready for not only with today's skills and technology, but also have a methodology to really go forward. That is some kind of thing. A resume gives a snapshot of what you have, what you are today or claim to be today, right? So what you will be is something that while an interaction or interview happens, and that need to be brought out, and then that bringing is something you need to really plan. That's what meant by a portfolio, not just a resume. Hope you understand.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you
thanks
so much.
very much. Understood. Great. I understood. Clear.
Okay. There's another question, sir. Is it by visitor Anand? The question is this: how can India's corporate R&D keep better pace with global AI?
Yeah, so this is really a challenge, and then really a fact that many of the R&D investments on the even totally government plus private putting together are very much small fragment of what is being done elsewhere. Even from the US have almost 60% of the AI investments are being made, maybe around 20 something in China, and then rest in split into other areas. So here, yes, this is a challenge, and then many initiatives have already been taken, and hopefully in the next decade and then all, we should see some breakthroughs in that area. We have some leading R&D happening and then a setup, because people are really aware of this, and then yes, there is a limit of investment in that area happening.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Again, from Mr. Jaksharan Singh, there's a question. Media people use the word portfolio. Is academics, it is a CV. Am I right, sir?
Yeah, yes, in a way, yes. So that's what's saying that it is academics use it as CV, and then a portfolio is a resume. But what I was hinting at was that that portfolio is also meaning what is behind the spirit of it. So that need to be there.
Okay, so there's a question from Ms. Nakshri. How can a non-technical educator use AI in education departments?
Yeah, so there are several tools specifically for the educators can create content in terms of course content, and then in terms of very interesting questions that could really promote students to think, and then they try to answering very interesting novel problems that could be really devised. So some of this, instead of giving a standard material for people to study, and you need to engage with students through multiple media. So depends upon the kind of facilities affordable in a teaching, where VR itself, virtual reality itself has a great way of providing academic content, and then the demonstration. Because many of the kind of whether in a biology or in those areas, how realistic systems or objects can be really demonstrated and in a live manner to students, and then how to do kind of a virtual laboratories to do experiment in virtual labs, and then maybe a surgical act on a virtual object. So those kind of contents are possible today, and then so this is left to your imagination how these tools can be used to generate those content, and then engage with the student, give something new and informative, so that keep the attention of students, and then you will be a successful teacher.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So I'm going to the last question as we are reaching to the end of the session. So the question is by Mr. Mayur. Can I predict the foreign stock exchange, which is going to hit the high in future?
See, the algorithmic trading is already doing today. Okay, so many of those agents are being these AI algorithms are highly being used. Now there are a complexity, because as I mentioned, AI typically does is a pattern recognition, and then human also does that pattern recognition to a great level. But beyond that, there is also some kind of a prediction which based on historical. But many a time, many other factors which are not even privy to AI systems are happening in the world. The macroeconomic and then the other kind of changes which might not be captured by some of these AI systems, wherein which it could fail. But AI algorithms are highly being used in trading and prediction.
Okay, so thank you so much, and thank you everyone for attending this session, and a big thanks to you, sir, for your your valuable insights, as well as clearing our doubts. So we look forward to meet you again in, with these informative sessions, which is really beneficial for everyone. So thank you, everyone, for
Right.
attending this webinar.
Thank you giving an opportunity to talk about my favorite topic. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Oh, thank you.